Hi, my name is Johnny. Thank you for coming by and welcome to our first ever show. This has been a long time in coming, and I'll share with you guys this week's struggle and strive in a minute. But first, I wanted to talk about a little bit about the lead up to this. So we have 5 kids. All of them have an ultra rare disease diagnosis and special needs, which, as I'm sure you all know, can be very isolating and time consuming and exhausting. And I mean, you name it, all the INGs, right? I wanted to start this podcast or show or channel or whatever this thing is called for a while, but uh, the two things I really hate about something like this are, one, seeing myself on camera, and even worse than that is hearing my own voice recorded. So as a result, since both of those are kind of key ingredients for something like this, I've been procrastinating, which unfortunately is a superpower of mine. I could also make excuses and say life's got in the way because with 5 kids, obviously things here are very busy, combined with the fact that all 5 of them have various special needs. That makes things even more complicated and busy. But I think really it was just that, in addition to being on camera and not liking hearing my own voice being recorded, I think I was really, if I'm being honest, I think I was really just nervous and uh, embarrassed or even scared to start doing something like this. It's really hard when you think about it to put yourself and your family kind of out there and the things that people typically don't talk about, especially in terms of, oh, my child or children have special needs. It's not something people are typically very comfortable with doing, myself or us included. And it took a long time, I think, to get past that. I think ultimately moving from where we lived previously on the West Coast to where we are now kind of enabled us, or maybe even better is to say, empowered us to open up in those regards and talk about some of the challenges and the issues and feelings and all the stuff that comes along with having a child or kids with special needs or disabilities. And after we moved, I think the last 5 or 6 years have really kind of been transformational for us in terms of the struggles and the strives and successes and all those things that I'll tell you guys more about in another episode or show. But that it was kind of like a fresh start really for us. We still keep in touch with some family and friends from where we used to live, but moving really, especially since our kids really kind of came into school age really after we moved. I think our oldest kids were second and first grade, perhaps first and second grade when we moved here. And the 3 boys were really tiny and not even like maybe 1 or 2 of them were in preschool, I don't remember. But being, pushed into that school situation, I think forced us, if you will, to start talking about what our kids' needs were and the challenges they faced, so we could work with the school and the staff and the teachers there to figure out how to best support them and get them what they needed in terms of services and such. And also open the door for us to start getting to know other families that had children with disabilities or special needs, and talking with them about their challenges and how they got through them and, the various issues that their kids face and what did or didn't work for them. So we got to the point where we were starting to kind of build up a community around us. It was, it was and still is small, but community nonetheless. I think that's really helped us, come a long way. And we've, we'll talk about this later, but, we've also finally come to a diagnosis, or I should say, I guess a primary diagnosis, since the kids have many diagnoses, in the time that we lived here. And that's really opened the door for an even larger community. And like I said, I'll talk about that probably more another time, just because that's a pretty big one, and it still is pretty transformational for our family. So yeah, in terms of the struggles we've had this week, at the time I'm recording this, so this is the week after Thanksgiving. So we had all the kids home for that whole week from school. Um, as a family, we just stayed here at home. Gave us a lot of time to spend together since the kids didn't have school, I didn't have work, my wife didn't have work. Gave us time to just hang out inside. With the weather, on the days the weather was nice, we let the kids play outside. Kind of hung out with them out there, get some energy out. Um, there were a couple weekends, or not weekends, there were a couple days, or a few days, I guess, over the course of that week, where the weather was nice enough that the kids could all go swimming, which is one of their favorite activities. So we definitely wanted to make sure we could take advantage of that now that we're in fall and the weather's starting to get pretty cool out, and winter will be even worse. So thought that put an end to our swimming for several months. And and everything was great. That was all great. Until Monday rolled around and it was time for school to start up again, which, if I'm being honest, my wife and I were really looking forward to kids going back to school and um, not only having that routine for them, which they thrive on, because I'm sure your experience is the same or similar to ours in that kids with special needs tend to really thrive on routine and schedule and knowing what to expect or what's coming next throughout the day or throughout the week. Yeah, even if they don't necessarily understand the reason behind things, they they understand that, okay, today we're getting up early and we're gonna brush our teeth, or we're gonna do this and that and the other thing and get ready for school, or today's a weekend and that means we're gonna get up a little later. Um, they really do best when they know what to expect and they have that routine and schedule that they're used to. Um, so those times when that the routine changes, or it's a week like Thanksgiving week where they're off school and the routine is totally different, it really throws a wrench in the works. So anyways, by the time Monday morning rolled around, it was time to go back to school. Our routine was off. As you can imagine, with 5 kids, especially all of them with special needs, our mornings are highly coordinated and choreographed events, really. Because my wife works for the school district, so she's up and out the door pretty early before the kids are even out of bed. So that means it's me and the kids getting everyone ready and out the door for the day. So, everything from diaper changes to brushing teeth to getting the kids that have medications that they take daily, getting that taken care of and getting dressed and making sure everyone's fed, and the boys have their AAC or talker iPads that they use for communication, that hopefully we remember to charge the night before, all ready to go in their backpacks for the day. It was a challenge getting back in that routine on Monday. And even though the morning was a struggle, the real struggle came in the afternoon once they came home. We've had challenges in the past with one of the boys. I mean, there's no other way to say it, but attacking his brother, where he'll scratch his face if he gets too close to him or tries to engage in the same activity or same toys that he's playing with. And it's just really, really, as you can imagine, especially if it happens to in your house too, it's really kind of a horrible experience to have your child hurt one of your other children or family members. It took a while, and over time, with some trial and error and working with one of the kids' doctors, that's been really helpful and great through all this. We're able to address that with medication and kind of all but eliminate the happening, because up until that point, for the longest time, it was almost a daily occurrence. And no matter how close you watch them, it only took a split second for it to happen. I mean, it could be everything was great, everyone's doing their thing, get a little too close, and then, scratch. Like I said, that happened Monday afternoon, and then thankfully, we're getting towards the end of the week now. It hasn't happened since, but yeah, that's always tough. And having gone for quite a while of that happening. It was difficult when it happened again. In terms of our family's strive or thrive for the week, uh, as I kind of mentioned a bit ago, all three of our boys are nonverbal or non-speaking and use an AAC or a talker device. In our case, it's an iPad with Protocol to go on it to communicate. They also use some sign language and I'll say means of their own that they've kind of figured out, and we figured out with them to communicate. I mean, I really don't know how else to explain it other than, if you have a child who can't talk, right? You guys just figure out or work out between you and your child how to communicate. I mean, for one of our girls who didn't talk until it was really, really late. She didn't start talking until really late. She really only can make one noise, and she would vocalize and point, and we could I don't know how to explain it. You just understand it if you live this life or walked in these shoes. But we could tell kind of from the inflection in her grunt or the word or her vocalization, if it was happy or sad or, I want this or, I'm excited. I mean, even though it was the same vocalization in all cases, just, I mean, you start to pick up on these things and, it's just amazing. I mean, how much people take for granted to be able to communicate, and don't realize that, you don't have to talk to be able to communicate. But anyways, getting off topic. So anyways, the boys all have their iPads, and we had watched on Thanksgiving Day morning, we had watched the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with the kids, which we were kind of surprised they were interested in, because it's sometimes hard to predict the things they'll be interested in. I mean, sometimes we'll come up with some great idea that we're like, oh yeah, the kids will love this, and then they care less. And then the opposite's true too, where it's like, here we are, we're coming up on Christmas, and then the same scenario for their birthdays. I'm like, one of the kids would like this particular toy or activity or whatever as a gift, so we get it, and they open it Christmas morning or on their birthday, and lo and behold, they want to play with the Amazon box it came in more than the actual toy itself. But anyway, so they were into the parade and everything. I think it helped that Chase and Marshall, if you ever have seen Paw Patrol, they had Chase and Marshall balloons in the parade, and our boys are into Paw Patrol in a really big way. So anyways, it was later on the night of Thanksgiving, and we had something else on TV. I don't remember what it was, but one of the boys got his talker and he sat down next to me, and on his talker he said, "Parade more Macy's Chase," which is especially if you understand, don't have kids who can talk. It's great that he's able to communicate things like this so clearly with us and others. I mean, it took a really long time to get to that point. And it's still a long way to go, but the success, though, and it might seem small, is the fact that he said the word Macy's with his iPad. I mean, because how does he know what Macy's is? We haven't lived near Macy's since, in years since we moved out here. And I don't think the kids have even been inside of a Macy's store. So how did they know what Macy's was? And even more so, how did he know where it was on his iPad? I mean, I'll see if I can figure out how to dub in a picture or a video of it, because I was so surprised. I took out my phone and asked him to do it again, or show me again, or tell me again what he wanted, and I took a recording of it, because it just blew my mind. Right? How the heck did he know where to find the word Macy's on his iPad? Because if you've seen Protocol Go or any other of those assistive technology communication applications or devices, there's many folders in the hierarchy of words and phrases and such. So it was mind blowing. So of course, we immediately put on the parade again, which we had recorded that morning, because he was able to ask for it, and then kind of tell us what he wanted. So anyways, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I hope at least some of this has resonated with you guys. And if so, if you could, let me know. I mean, like this is my first one of these, or our first one of these. My hope is it gets better over time. But if you guys have any comments or feedback or questions that you wouldn't mind leaving in the comments section, or I guess I'm supposed to ask for thumbs up or likes or whatever also, but I'm really interested in the feedback or the questions, because the special needs community, our community, can sometimes feel really small and isolating, and it's not easy being on the struggle bus. But the good thing about being on the struggle bus is there's plenty of seats, so there's room for lots of people to join you and us. So I hope to see you guys next time, and by sharing our struggles and strives and thrives, hope that we can all be a little bit better off for that sharing. So see you all next time. Thanks.